Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to some Toronto Raptors rumors that have been going around the league, and it's coming from Detroit. The Detroit Pistons, they've had a young prospect that seems like the optimal pickup for the Toronto Raptors team, considering the direction we've been going, and it's Sekou Doumbouya. No Charles Barkley name pronunciation there. We emphatically practiced the phonetic pronunciation prior to this podcast, but a Detroit Pistons blog said that the Toronto Raptors would be a perfect fit to sort of pick up Sekou. The Pistons, they have a large roster right now, and after bringing in Cade, having a few young guys, Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart on their roster, they might want to look to bring in a veteran or two. So the Toronto Raptors obviously were brought up as a potential fit, considering you're going to break down his intangibles, his size and length. So break it down why Sekou would be a cool fit for the Toronto Raptors, Riker.
But first, you said no Charles Barkley, but you mispronounced Detroit. I know people love to flame us before you said the hard D. It's Detroit. So Sekou Doumbouya will probably still get somebody correct us in this one. But basically what happened was the Detroit Pistons, they picked up Hamidou Diallo. They gave him a 2-year offer. That was their 16th roster spot. So now guys like Sekou Doumbouya and Jahlil Okafor, among probably others, are outside of their ability to re-sign, which leaves them in that open market for the Raptors to come and snatch up. And he's drawn Pascal Siakam comparisons. He's 6'8", 230 pounds. Another guy that really built a career on athleticism, running the court, motor. He never did anything crazy in his first 2 years in the NBA, about 5 points per game, 23% shooting from the three. So stats very comparable to first season Pascal Siakam. And he came over from France. He was drafted 15th overall in 2019. So obviously scouts saw some promise in this guy. Ben, my question to you is, we have Achua. We have Kem Birch. We have Pascal Siakam, who will be returning from injury at some point. Scotty Barnes, Yuta Watanabe, maybe a midseason trade for Moses Brown and Dwight Powell. Do we need another forward at this point?
Well, Riker, there's the Toronto Raptors. If we've learned one thing from this offseason is you cannot have too many 6'8", 6'9" guys with long arms that are very raw, that can play defense and can play in the Raptors 905 for the next couple seasons to just become beasts in the coming years. And as you brought up, has a really interesting story coming into the league, as many Toronto Raptors players do, and has drawn Pascal Siakam comparisons, and bringing him in to a Toronto Raptors development staff to work alongside the Toronto Raptors development staff could be a perfect fit to him really to grow and develop on this squad. Because even though the Pistons, they're one of the lesser teams in the NBA right now, at least in terms of record, and probably don't project to be a top team in the Eastern Conference, even though I think they're going to be much improved with the additions of Cade Cunningham, the development of Saddiq Bey Stewart, as I mentioned, and bringing in guys like Kelly Olynyk and different players which could elevate the team a little bit. They brought in one other veteran that I'm slipping my mind right now, but the Pistons, they might be okay. They might be this, that, or whatnot, but for them to be able to trade, if they're trading away Sekou, to bring him into the Toronto Raptors, it just makes sense, right? That he's not going to get those minutes there on Detroit, even if he does get brought back there. They might potentially want to get a veteran alongside of Cade Cunningham, because we all know in the modern NBA, Riker, you want to be as good as possible when you have young sort of superstars, because obviously guys like Zion Williamson in their second year are rumored to be making trade demands right away if the team isn't performing optimally. So bringing him in to develop alongside our young core, right? The Delano Bantons, the David Johnsons who we picked up in the second round, the Scotty Barnes. OG's still a young guy, even though he's a core piece right now. And just have him grow with our crop of young guys, whether it be the 905 or the team. I mean, they even mentioned I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. What did they say? Earlier in the article, I don't think I have it in the screenshot, they say the Toronto Raptors are the development house for in the Eastern Conference. So it just makes sense for the Raptors in terms of fit, in terms of this. Now, he's not much of a shooter, Riker, but there are other promising aspects to his game.
The other promising aspects, Ben, This was a perfect segue. Other promising aspects: length, supreme athleticism, which it's never really translated to success yet. If you look at his French league stats, they're very similar to his NBA stats, but this dude's 20 years old, right? He has the, ball handling, it's kind of there. Athleticism is there. Length is there. His ability to guard bigs. And what we've seen the Raptors development staff be able to do is turn horrific shooters into average shooters. And you made the point, any long guy, any long athletic guy that can at least have good touch around the basket, hit a mid-range jumper, hit a wide open non-contested three, those are valuable for the Toronto Raptors, because what it could ultimately do is facilitate the pick and roll a little bit better, take pressure off of our playmaking scorers like Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. I think it's a little bit much to expect a guy like, I'm trying to remember, I have to go back to the phonetic pronunciation or else. Doumbouya. It's probably a big ask for this guy to come in, if the Raptors are interested, to come in and be a roster player, but he could go play on the 905, do a year or two, very similar to what a lot of our core players now have done, and develop up, which is ultimately not a net loss. If you have a guy that was a 15th overall draft pick only 2 years ago and is only 21 years of age.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reasons you potentially bring him in, but still he's under contract for the Detroit Pistons, taking up one of those roster spots. What do you think a trade, if we had to cook up a little trade machine here, Riker, would the Pistons be interested in a Dragic? That deal potentially going out, getting a veteran in there. I know they have Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham on that roster now, and I feel like I'm missing a veteran that they picked up. Maybe it was Trey Lyles, I believe. I don't know. I don't believe they re-signed Corey Joseph, but
no, I don't think they did either. And the payrolls are all messed up right now because they're not updated. But I don't see a trade, like a big name trade. I could maybe see like a second round pick or just something. Maybe we flip Matt Thomas's trade pick, or we flip Terrence Davis Jr.'s second round pick, something like that. Just something non-blockbuster, hardly noteworthy happening behind the scenes to bring in a guy that, again, you could develop up. I don't see us flipping a $17 million guy just so we could bring in Sekou Doumbouya.
Man, we need this guy solely for the segments we could create with the booyah at the end of it there. But Riker, there was points throughout his rookie season, I remember explicitly, where he showed promise of a guy that was raring to break out, right? His ability to crash the rim, to guard, to play defense, to do all these things. Dwayne Casey made that rotation a little bit the first year. However, the second season with the Detroit Pistons didn't really take that step a lot of people were expecting. So maybe that's a little bit of a red flag. However, we just brought in a guy like Isaac Bonga who follows that same sort of timeline. Who would you like to see this guy maybe edge out on this roster if we were to bring him in? Because I guess that's the real question right now. Obviously, we just signed Champagnie to a 2-way contract. Utah has stepped up to the actual roster right now. We have 2 second-round picks who look like they're, we're hoping David Johnson's ready to go. And honestly, Delano Banton looked more ready to go than Johnson there in Summer League, just from the eye test and the stats going out. But, he's even said himself that he's more of a year-long project. Ishmael Wainwright, he's raring to be a rotation piece for this Toronto Raptors team. Who would he sort of edge out on the deep end of the roster? Or, because the Raptors do have some extra roster space. I think he'd overtake Freddie Gillespie or one of those types of guys at the end of the bench.
Yeah, he'd overtake a Freddie Gillespie, probably a Bonga, even though they're technically different positions. Bonga is listed as point guard, small forward, whereas Doumbouya is true sort of power forward, and maybe you could slip him back to the small forward. But we have a ton of guys that are really low skill, athleticism, but potential based. So it's hard to say he deserves to edge out anybody else. A lot of these guys are development projects. So you got to give him a little bit of run and see what happens. But I'd mostly be looking at this guy for his upside, his potential ceiling. You put him through the 905, and if he shows that he can work on his ball handling or his finishing, his shooting, maybe you let him play those garbage minutes and work his way up.
Yeah, definitely a guy that we can develop. I don't think we have to dive too much into it, because it seems like it's the same story with all the people rumored around the Toronto Raptors this entire offseason, because we have a direction, we have a core, and that's a good thing about the Toronto Raptors right now. Even if we're not getting that superstar-esque player in this year's free agency, we at least are doing something that could potentially pay off in the long run to build that championships caliber team from within. So I like Masai Ujiri's path. I like the direction. I like that we're rumored for more and more of these players, not just someone completely random going to the squad. I know people would be saying and have been saying in the comment section they want a true 7-footer in the next at least deep bench guy that we pick up, and I get where they're coming from, but potentially Moses Brown could be that guy. But we're going to be breaking down all the sort of rumors, every little thing that's happened over Raptors land. We want to hear your takes on potential trade scenarios, so let us know in the comment section below if you'd like to see Doumbouya, or did I say that? Sekou Doumbouya.
Doumbouya. Yeah. Who knows? We'll get corrected, I'm sure.
Yeah. We gotta say emphatically, at least, if you're messing it up. But you're the best to make us far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Ryker, you have any last words on these trade rumors happening right now?
Doumbouya. Cheers.